Here I was, enjoying the tranquility of our suburban neighborhood, unaware of the storm brewing within our seemingly perfect lives. Little did I know that a single confession would shatter our world, revealing secrets that threatened to tear us apart. Betrayal, manipulation, and a demand that could change everything. Here's how it all went down. It was just another evening in our suburban neighborhood. The sun was going down, bathing everything in a golden light. I could hear crickets and some distant laughter. My name is John. I'm 35, and until now, life has been pretty routine for me. My wife, Karen, is 32 and always full of life. With her around, every day has a little spark. People often say we're the ideal couple, living the dream. However, not everything was as smooth as it seemed. We had our share of hidden issues, secrets we kept from even our closest friends and family. And tonight, all those hidden things were about to come out in the open, changing our lives forever. The night started normally with the sound of crickets and our neighbors laughing. I was on the porch drinking lemonade, not expecting something big to happen soon. "John," she began, her voice shaky, "I cheated on you and got pregnant. Now I want you to adopt the baby." I choked on my drink, my heart racing. "You cheated on me, and now you're asking me to adopt the child from that?" I was incredulous. Karen looked at me with a mix of fear and determination. "I deserve a fresh start, and you should help with the baby." The following silence was tense. Trying to process, I finally said, "Karen, it's not just about raising another man's child, it's the fact that you cheated on me. Do you understand how deep this betrayal is?" She shot back, "It's not just about me. You should be willing." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This is a huge decision. It affects us both. The peaceful evening had turned into a storm of emotions, changing everything between us. The room spun, and my vision blurred. Karen's confession struck me like a sledgehammer. "You have to adopt the child. It's your duty," she demanded, her voice icy and unyielding. I felt the air being sucked out of the room. "You cheated on me!" I shouted, barely able to believe the betrayal. "And now you want to put your mistake on my shoulders? How could you?" The tension between us felt like a tightening noose. It felt like our entire relationship was on the brink of collapse. Karen's eyes flashed with anger and desperation. "You'll regret turning your back on me and this child," she hissed. I felt cornered, betrayed, and overwhelmed. "This isn't just about the child, Karen. This is about your betrayal. You can't force this on me." She picked up an old family photo, her voice breaking. "Look at us. This was us. Can't we get back to this?" Swallowing hard, my voice filled with pain, I replied, "It's not that easy, Karen. Your actions have consequences." It felt like our love and trust were shattered, the devastation almost too much to bear. Week after agonizing week, our home transformed into a battlefield. Every interaction felt like threading a needle, each of us on edge. Karen's unyielding demands became suffocating. To find clarity, I sought legal advice. As the atmosphere in our home turned even colder, daily routines became strained. We ate meals in stifling silence, and nights found us in separate rooms, avoiding each other. The weight of our unresolved issues loomed large. One evening, after a particularly draining confrontation, I felt the need to escape and found solace in the nearby park. Watching families interact and children laughing was a bitter pill to swallow. Memories of happier times, of dates filled with laughter and dreams, filled my mind. How did we spiral so far down? Armed with information from my legal consultation, I knew it was time to set things straight with Karen. "I've spoken to a lawyer," I said firmly, meeting her anxious gaze. "I'm under no obligation to adopt the child." The color drained from her face. She looked shattered. "I really thought I could push you into it," she admitted, her voice barely audible. The gravity of the situation settled in. "This isn't the life I envisioned, Karen," I said, my voice heavy with emotion. "We need to part ways." Tears filled her eyes. "Where will I go, John?" she pleaded, her voice breaking. "How can you just throw me out after everything?" I took a deep breath, struggling with the whirlwind of emotions inside. "This was your decision, Karen. I can't be the one to bear the consequences of your actions," I replied, standing my ground. The days that followed were some of the toughest. We began dividing our life into separate boxes, with the prying eyes of our neighbors watching every move. Our once cherished relationship had now become neighborhood gossip. But as I closed the door on that chapter of my life, a mixed feeling of sadness and relief washed over me. The road ahead was uncertain, and healing would take time. However, with lessons learned and resilience gained, I was determined to move forward, one step at a time. Wow, that story had me on the edge of my seat. The drama and suspense were off the charts. Who knew a peaceful suburban neighborhood could hide such intense secrets? Kudos to the storyteller for keeping us hooked till the end. It was just another Tuesday in our quiet store until she strutted in, her demand echoing louder than the usual hum of cash registers and customer chatter. Little did I know, a pair of steel-toed boots would turn my regular workday into a theater of the absurd. Here's how it all went down. In the heart of an industrial clothing hub, I serve as the pivotal role at the cash desk, not just as any manager, but the one people often request during heated moments. My age, lingering in the 20s, often surprises many. The looming completion of my business management degree coupled with my past management experiences garners respect, but my age still prompts raised eyebrows from some customers. Most days find me multitasking between ringing up purchases and guiding our cashier team, especially with the intricate discount system we have for our affiliated companies and unions. On one exceptionally chaotic day, the atmosphere in our industrial clothing hub was electric, a mix of customers buzzing with needs, the rhythmic ka-ching of cash registers, and the subtle hum of background music. Amidst this noise, my attention was drawn to our newest addition to the team, a young high school student. Though she was just a teen, her maturity was striking and far beyond her years. For the sake of this narrative, let's refer to her as new cashier. As she deftly handled transactions, her swift fingers on the register, and her attentive eyes scanning items, it was hard to believe she was in the nascent stages of her job. Even in her debut week, she exuded confidence and seemed to grasp the intricacies of our rather complex system with ease. In the midst of my routine, which typically involved overseeing operations and assisting wherever necessary, I was momentarily interrupted by the distinct tone of a customer at her counter. It wasn't just any customer. Her voice dripped with entitlement, rising above the general din. She assertively placed a pair of gleaming steel-toe boots on the counter, pushing them slightly forward with an air of expectancy. With a subtle jingle of her bracelets, the woman confidently declared, "I'm with X Company," her statement hanging in the air as if it were a VIP pass meant to unlock all privileges. The glint of her silver necklace caught the overhead light as she continued, "I should get a discount." Around us, other customers shuffled, some intently studying the price tags on garments, while others exchanged whispered conversations about the quality of the materials. A few seemed mildly interested in the budding confrontation, their gazes drifting over intermittently. Intrigued by the developing scenario, and seeing it as a potential learning moment for NC, I discreetly edged closer. I could feel the slight vibration of the floor beneath my shoes, a testament to the store's activity. New cashier, brows furrowing slightly as she sifted through our digital records, responded in a soothing tone, "Are you certain it's not listed under a different name or perhaps affiliated with a union?" Her fingers danced over the touchscreen, displaying genuine effort to help. The woman's face reddened, a stark contrast to her pale blue blouse. She retorted, "It's X Company. Maybe you just don't know how to look it up properly." Anticipating a surge in tension, I gracefully slid into the conversation. "Can I assist you, ma'am?" She turned to appraise me, her eyes narrowing slightly, the skepticism plain on her face. "And who are you supposed to be?" I couldn't help the slight smirk that played on my lips as I replied, "I'm the person customers usually request when they utter the famous line, 'Can I speak to the manager?'" Taking a defensive stance, she snapped back, "Do you have any proof of that?" Striving to maintain an air of professionalism, I detailed our recent policy changes, emphasizing the need for verification from customers. She waved her hand dismissively, a glint of nostalgia in her eyes as she mentioned, "This was never a problem before." Attempting to ease the escalating situation, I offered, "Policies evolve, ma'am. We're only requesting some basic verification." Growing more agitated, she raised an eyebrow, challenging, "You can't possibly be the real manager, are you?" Sensing this could become more serious, I discreetly pressed the button on my radio, summoning backup. "Could we get some assistance at till 2, please?" As the rhythmic, unhurried footsteps of our security team neared, drawing curious glances from all over the store, another player entered this already colorful tableau, the woman's mother. With her elegant stride and chic attire, she exuded a confident calmness, a stark contrast to her daughter's theatrics. Pausing to sweep a discerning look over the scene, she appeared like someone well-versed in dousing dramatic fires. If the entitled woman had been wearing a badge, it would have sparkled in bold letters, "Drama Queen Supreme." Around them, customers subtly edged closer, intrigued by the unfolding retail saga. With the artful grace of someone used to managing sticky situations, the mother leaned in, murmuring something into her daughter's ear. From the outside, it seemed like a mix of stern advice and a gentle reminder of decorum. There was a long, pregnant pause. The store's background music seemed oddly appropriate, setting a soundtrack to the drama. With a pronounced exhale and a reluctant slump to her posture, the entitled woman groaned, all right, I'll take the boots. But don't think this is the end. The internet will hear about this. Mark my words." Our new cashier, attempting to keep a straight face but visibly amused by the day's unexpected turn, began the process of ringing up the purchase. Meanwhile, I exchanged a smirk with the security guard, who by now was trying hard not to chuckle. The irony wasn't lost on either of us. A whole theatrical performance, audience included, over a mere 10% discount? That's just $13. She could have easily snagged that discount with a simple smile and a polite ask. But today, in the vibrant tapestry of our store's day-to-day, it was clear that sometimes the drama overshadows the dollars. In the world of retail, unexpected challenges often arise, especially when it comes to financial concessions. These incidents highlight the importance of established protocols and a balanced approach. It's a testament to the complex nature of customer service. In the dynamic world of tech, I had always prided myself on forging alliances that pushed boundaries. But when one such collaboration spiraled into a vortex of deceit, betrayal, and drama, I found myself at the epicenter of a storm I never saw coming. Here's how it all went down. I am a 35-year-old who owns a thriving software company. My youthful exuberance, fueled by endless nights of coding and strategizing, coupled with a solid decade of navigating the intricacies of the tech industry, had carved a niche for my enterprise in an oversaturated market. We were the talk of Tech Town, with media coverage and client inquiries pouring in from every corner. The accolades and achievements of our recent projects acted both as a testament to our prowess and a weight of expectation on my shoulders. It constantly echoed the need to outdo our last success, to keep innovating, and to always remain a step ahead. With the pressure of maintaining our hard-earned reputation and the desire to launch another groundbreaking project, I found myself on familiar ground. Drawn by necessity and perhaps a hint of nostalgia, I entered into a partnership with a figure from my past. Our previous venture together had been a roller coaster, with the highs of brainstorming sessions and the lows of missed deadlines. That collaboration had drained me, mentally and emotionally, due to its relentless pace and endless delays. But with lessons learned and a fresh perspective, I was hopeful that this time, things would be different. Stretching my back and stifling a yawn, I slouched into the chair. "Okay, team," I began, glancing at my partner. "This go-around, let's keep things straightforward, yeah? None of that confusing stuff." As we pulled out pens, paper, and our collective brainstorming energy, we drafted a contract that was simple but solid. We even added a cheeky clause about paying a naughty fine if someone veered off track. My partner, ever the rogue, shot me a smirk, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Deal," she quipped, sealing our pact with an exaggerated handshake. She leaned back, twirling her pen like a maestro, and nonchalantly mentioned, "Oh, just so you know, I've got a couple of tech whizzes on board this time." The news was unexpected but welcome. It felt like a small victory, the kind that has you silently fist-pumping the air. With more hands on deck, things looked brighter. Our weekly meetups soon turned into these energetic huddles, full of sticky notes, half-drunk cups of coffee, and optimistic chatter. Everything sounded so spot on that I decided to up our game. Investing in a top-notch shared server seemed like the logical next step. I envisioned it as our project's digital hub, where all our genius ideas would come alive. But life loves its curveballs, doesn't it? Next thing I knew, my partner was treating our shiny new server like her personal toy store, storing all her side projects and whatnot. I should have seen it coming. It was just so her. The adventures of partnering, right? As the sun dipped low, throwing out those Insta-worthy golden hues, I took a moment to stretch out and gear up for the big reveal. With my favorite mug in hand, filled to the brim with a steaming brew, I settled in, ready to see the fruits of our weeks-long labor on our shared server. This is it, I thought, the payoff moment. But man, did reality come crashing down faster than a Wi-Fi signal during a storm. Instead of that beautiful, organized library of our work, I was met with a hot mess of half-cooked ideas and a boatload of blank folders, each feeling like a silent slap in the face. I spun around, my patience teetering. "Hey!" I called out, the frustration evident in my voice. "You kept saying we were golden. What on earth is all this?" I gestured wildly at the screen. She shuffled her feet, eyes darting everywhere but to mine. First, the tried-and-true excuses rolled out. The classic Wi-Fi was acting up, the evergreen, "we must have had some miscommunication," and oh, the gem. I swear I was just about to organize it all. But as the night deepened and we peeled back layer upon layer, the real story emerged. She'd tried to outsmart her assistant by skimping on his dues, and the guy, predictably, had left this digital chaos in his wake. "All that hustle, the late nights, the brainstorming sessions," I exclaimed, my voice heavy with a mix of disbelief and hurt. Was it all for this? To watch it sink because of some dodgy moves? My heart oscillated between anger and sheer disappointment. It was clear that trust, once fractured, left sharp edges behind. Realizing that waiting around wasn't an option, I hustled. Scouring networks, I managed to hire a seasoned pro to clean up and expedite the process, all out of my pocket. My partner, on the other hand, seemed to have taken a back seat, only to conveniently reappear when the topic of profits came up, trying to stake a claim larger than she deserved. The experience was a roller coaster, with more drops than highs, but it cemented a lesson for me. In business, trust but always verify. The day of our software's launch dawned, and against all odds, it was nothing short of spectacular. The digital landscape buzzed with chatter about our creation, downloads surged, and the positive feedback was overwhelming. We should have been popping champagne and celebrating, but a storm cloud of previous misdeeds cast a shadow over our success. The missteps, the shortcuts, the blatant misuse of resources, all were fresh scars left by my partner's behavior. They were stark reminders that while the ship had reached the harbor, the journey had been riddled with leaks and close shaves. On a stormy evening, with the patter of raindrops against the window pane setting a somber backdrop, we sat down to review our post-launch metrics. The gloom outside mirrored the turmoil in my heart, and I knew that this moment, this meeting, was the turning point. Considering everything, I began, my voice steady but laden with the weight of our shared history, I've come to a difficult decision. Your access to the server will be discontinued. If you believe in its worth, the onus is now on you to fund it. Her eyes widened, a mixture of disbelief and rising panic evident in her gaze. You can't be doing this, she exclaimed, her voice taking on a shrill edge. That server's maintenance isn't just a few bucks. It's a substantial investment. Could you possibly reconsider? Maybe just extend it a tad longer? A flood of memories washed over me. The constant delays, the endless excuses, the financial and emotional drain, and the nights I'd spent staring at a screen trying to make up for her shortcomings. With each memory, my determination grew stronger. I've been more than accommodating, I retorted, with an icy calmness that belied my inner storm. The choice is made, no. With deliberate intent, I turned to my computer. Thanks to the foresight of using a virtual card, it was a matter of mere clicks. The end came not with a bang, but with a soft, decisive click. The tether was cut, releasing me from the quagmire of this partnership. The aftermath was swift and intense. My phone, previously silent, now buzzed incessantly, each notification a testament to the gravity of my decision. A barrage of messages filled my screen, their tone ranging from desperation to sheer disbelief. What just happened? I can't access anything. Why did you shut off the server? Is this for real? You can't leave me hanging like this. It would have been easy to get pulled back into the whirlwind of drama, but I'd reached my limit. With a newfound sense of empowerment and a touch of finality, I muted the notifications, blocked the incessant messages, and firmly shut the door on that chapter. I leaned back in my chair, taking a deep breath, letting the silence wash over me. The storm had been intense, but it had also been a teacher in disguise. Trust, I realized, was not a commodity to be handed out generously, but was to be earned. With a renewed sense of purpose and the wisdom of hard-earned lessons, I plotted a new course for my company. It was time to navigate calmer seas, where integrity and collaboration would be the winds propelling us forward. In the complex world of business partnerships, trust is what keeps both parties in sync. But when trust is broken, things get messy, and mistakes become obvious. Once trust is lost, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild, even if you can recover financially and salvage projects. I never expected that a casual conversation with my dad would unravel the truth about why my girlfriend's dad despised me. The shocking revelations about my dad's inappropriate comments left me questioning my own role in the strained relationship. Little did I know, confronting my dad would set off a chain of events that would not only mend ties, but also tear apart the foundation of my own family. Here's how it all went down. Ever since we were toddlers, my girlfriend and I were joined at the hip. A fun fact, her dad moved to this country in the 90s, and guess who became one of his best buds? Yep, my dad. Later, he went back to China, found love, married my girlfriend's mom, and then brought her here. It's kinda epic if you ask me. Growing up, our dads would always tease, bet you two will end up married one day. And guess what? By middle school, after attending separate elementary schools, we became inseparable. And at 14, we started dating. You'd think it would be all fun and games, but her dad went all Cold War on me. My girlfriend kept telling me, just give it time, he'll come around. And he did, for a bit. Fast forward to post-high school, my girlfriend moved into my house, 'cause we're near the university. But here's the plot twist. Her dad started giving me the cold shoulder again. I thought, is it 'cause she moved in with me? But the real bombshell came when my girlfriend's mom spilled that my dad's been making some really, well, spicy comments about us to her dad. I was like, Dad? Seriously? He admitted, yeah, I might have mentioned you two cuddling up a bit too close. When I told him to zip it, he just laughed and said, come on, they're just jokes. I shot back, if I want her dad to ever speak to me again, especially if I marry her, those jokes gotta stop. But all he said was that I was overreacting and being a jerk. So am I the jerk? Just to clarify, after she moved in with us, things weren't instantly weird between her dad and me. Actually, that Christmas, her family invited me on a vacation. Picture this, snowflakes, warm cocoa, and loads of family fun. One evening, her dad and I even had this deep chat, man to man. For a moment I thought, we're cool. But then, things went south after that. And look, about my dad's jokes, I wasn't telling him to go PG-13, I just wanted him to knock off the bedroom talk, especially in front of her dad. I mean, can he go back to the days when he'd tease about me and her walking down the aisle? Or those playful jabs like, caught him giving her a quick smooch. You know, family-friendly banter. To make things less intense, my girlfriend and I have decided to move out. The good news is that my girlfriend's family has been incredibly supportive. I reached out to her brothers, whom I am very close to, let's call them Brother Alan and Brother Ben, and asked if we could stay with them temporarily until we find a more permanent place to live. Alan is the elder one, a business major, who's more than likely to take over their dad's business someday. Then there's Ben, who can whip up a meal so good it'll bring tears to your eyes. Dude, I hesitated on the phone. We're in a bit of a jam. Any chance we can crash at your place for a while? There was a brief pause before Alan said, of course, man. Just help with the groceries and we're good. Ben added, and maybe help keep the place tidy? You got it, I replied gratefully. When we arrived, Ben surprised us by offering his bed, moving himself to an air mattress in the living room. I hardly sleep anyways, he said with a shrug. One evening, Ben decided to treat us all. As the aroma of a sumptuous meal wafted through the house, Alan and Ben's parents dropped by. I mean, who could resist an invite from their chef's son, right? Post-dinner, as the dishes were being cleared away, my girlfriend whispered to her dad, "Hey, Daddy, there's something he needs to discuss with you." And suddenly, there I was, alone, facing her parents. The weight of the moment was heavy, making my face turn a shade of crimson. I took a deep breath and began, "Sir, I never said any of those things to my dad about your daughter. I value our relationship and would never discuss our personal lives with anyone." I paused, my emotions nearly spilling over. "She means the world to me." He looked at me, silent and evaluating, before calling Alan over for a couple of beers. With a clink of the bottles, he said, "I believe you." He shared memories of hanging out with my dad, admitting that he distanced himself to avoid awkward discussions about his daughter. As he patted my back reassuringly, he said, "I trust my daughter's choice." But while things were looking up at my girlfriend's place, a storm was brewing back home. On the day we left, I sat my parents down to explain my departure. My mother's tears felt like a dagger in my heart, while my father remained disturbingly silent. Later, I learned from my mom that their marriage was falling apart. The guilt weighed on me as I thought I had played a role in their impending divorce. Knowing this was my mom's second attempt at love made it even harder. I couldn't help but wonder if she would ever find happiness again. While I managed to fix my relationship with my girlfriend's dad, I unintentionally ruined my parents' marriage. Oh, Dad was definitely crossing some boundaries there. It's important to remember that even if he considered it locker room talk, discussing someone's daughter in such a manner is not appropriate, especially when it's his friend's daughter. It's crucial to respect the privacy and dignity of others, regardless of the context or relationship. If you enjoyed today's stories, check out the other videos on your screen now. Submit your own stories at you'rethejerk.com. Subscribe now, or you're definitely the jerk.